Hi, it's Gerald Oginski. Come on in. Thanks for joining me. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury trial lawyer practicing law here in the state of New York. And today I have with me a doctor's bag. No, it's not my bag. This is my dad's bag. My dad was an obstetrician gynecologist, and I brought that with me today because I wanted to show you something. You know, when I was growing up, I used to take a peek in there every once in a while with my dad's permission to see what was in there because he had some really cool things in there. And my dad's been gone a long time now, but, you know, pulling some of the stuff out, you see Meadowbrook Hospital. It says May 1st, 1968. It's really cool stuff. You see some other cloths. And the coolest thing was he would have the neatest instruments as an obstetrician. Here we have a Welch and Allen ophthalmoscope, which is what the doctor uses to look into your ears and your eyes and your nose. And we even have some small surgical clamps in here and some other surgical instruments. And this stuff was really cool to take a look at when I was growing up, and it gave me a real interest in this stuff. Now, the reason I'm talking to you about this today is because we're talking about obstetrical trauma and the use of forceps. And I was looking for the set of forceps that my dad had from years ago, and I just couldn't find it. But here's why I want to tell you about them. You know, many times I'll get a call from a woman who's just had a forceps delivery and tell me that their baby has suffered massive trauma as a result of the forceps. And first of all, what are forceps? Forceps are tools that are used to help an obstetrician get the baby out when the mother can't push the baby. The forceps come in two parts, and they've been described as big salad tongs. Both sides get placed onto the baby's head, and then they get interlocked between the two of them, and then there's a handle, two handles that get joined together. It allows the doctor to use significant force to pull the baby, and many times that's done to eliminate or avoid the need for a C-section and a cesarean section. Now, what happens when those forceps are not properly placed? One of the things I've learned is that before the forceps can actually be placed, the doctor has to make absolutely certain where the baby's head is and how it's positioned. Now, why is that important? Well, if the baby's head is too far up in the birth canal, then it is contraindicated. You cannot put the forceps onto the baby because you'll cause significant internal injury to the mom and may also injure the baby's head. So you have to wait until the baby is close to being delivered in order to apply it. Well, how do they actually do that? Well, they use one of their hands in order to slide it up and around onto the baby's head. And they do the same thing with the other blade. It's called a blade. And they have different types of blades and different types of forceps that are used. Now, why is it important for the doctor to understand which way the baby is facing? Well, if the baby's facing up, head up, then you've got a problem if they put it on one particular way. If the baby is turned to the side and they put those forceps on, it's possible that they could put the forceps on right over the front of their face, and now they're exerting significant pressure, pulling the baby out, and that can result in trauma to the baby. So that's typically when I get a call when the mother sees the baby is all significantly bruised or may have fractures in the face or the cheeks. I will sometimes get calls from frantic fathers who say that they've just watched their wife delivering, giving birth, and they are freaked out. Why? Because they see that the doctor was in the delivery with their hands on the forceps, pulling and tugging, and even going so far, let me just show you, of putting their feet up onto the table in order to use the table as leverage to pull that baby out. And they are so worried that something bad happened because of how much energy and effort was used to try and get the baby out using forceps. When there's an obstetrical emergency, the baby is stuck within the birth canal, a doctor has very little time to choose various options, and they've got to choose the right one. And there's no wiggle room here. So when that baby is stuck and the doctor's exerting force, I guarantee you it's not because they're trying to do something intentionally to harm the baby, but rather they're trying to do something to get the baby out, to dislodge them, so they can have the delivery and the baby can go on, lead a normal, healthy, happy life. So if you have a traumatic forceps delivery, and you have questions about what may have happened as a result of that delivery, and your baby now has injuries, then I encourage you to pick up the phone and call me since I can answer your questions. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at lawmed10@yahoo.com. I'm Gerald Oginski here in New York. Thanks for watching.